We're all more aware these days about food allergies in the classroom, but if you're a parent of a kid with food allergies, the start of a new school year can be stressful as your child experiences really a whole new set of kids, maybe a different building that might not be familiar territory for them. So joining us this morning with a little advice for us is Jennifer Darr. She's a licensed clinical social worker at National Jewish Health. Jennifer, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're glad to. So if somebody's watching this and maybe their kid's a little nervous about lunchtime at school because of this, are there ways that we can help them handle that in those situations?
Absolutely. And part of the interventions and the recommendations are going to be dependent on how old they are and kind of where they're at in their school process. Typically, the lunchtime nervousness is our younger children who are maybe experiencing school for maybe the first or second time this year. They're not quite sure how to navigate the cafeteria or food options. They may not fully understand yet their allergies and how they can actually get exposed in reactions. So really educating the students, educating the cafeteria staff about what actually can trigger an anaphylactic reaction, how to say no thank you to offers to share food or to trade items. And seating in the cafeteria can all be really important to help kids feel comfortable.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's a heavy dose of anxiety for the parents involved, too. I mean, you mentioned you can teach them all the right things and hope that they know. But then when you aren't watching them actually interact during lunch and everything, maybe the anxiety's through the roof in those situations. Anything you could say to any of the parents out there?
Yeah, so the first thing is, making sure that parents are aware of regulations and what schools already have in place to manage healthcare issues and food allergies in the schools. Some of our children have 504 plans to help accommodate their needs, especially if they're younger or maybe have multiple issues occurring, not just a single food allergy that needs better management. A lot of parents choose to pack their children's lunches so that they know everything that's in their bag is safe. Some of our parents like to talk with the cafeteria staff at the beginning of the school year to really go through what the items are, what foods are in the kitchens, what foods might be safe if their child does want to be part of their class group when they get hot lunch or go through the line. All of those things can be super important. And a big one for many of our families is knowing where are the epinephrine, kept, where is that child's EpiPen, knowing that the adults around that child know how to use it and are comfortable kind of identifying signs and symptoms and using it as necessary.
Especially if we don't ourselves have a food allergy or know somebody or have a family member, you don't really think about everything that they have to be aware of. So even things like eating at birthday parties, even family gatherings that people who may not be aware, can that lead to some form of anxiety as well?
Absolutely. I mean, think about what we tell our children with food allergies, right? We tell them things like, don't eat that, it'll make you sick. You might need your EpiPen, you'll have to go to the hospital. How would that not create some level of anxiety? And keep in mind, anxiety is not always a bad thing. It helps us be cautious. It helps us be more aware. So we want a little bit of anxiety just to be vigilant. We don't want to be so anxious that we're avoiding activities, that we're choosing not to eat, that we're withdrawing. So educating, again, all those around us, helping children learn how to respond. Many of my kids talk about relatives who still don't get it. So they'll be at that family gathering and grandma or auntie is saying, oh, come on, just one bite, or I made this just for you. And being able to navigate that. How do you respectfully say, no, thank you. I'm allergic. I'm not going to eat that. And not feel like others might be upset with you or frustrated. That's hard on a child because typically they want to please others.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I was just going to say, so bringing, safe food items, navigating classroom parties, having your own snacks on hand, all of those things can be really helpful.
Is there, I mean, obviously you said, some level of anxiety or vigilance is a good thing, but are there any signs that parents should look out for where maybe it's, unhealthy for the kids in terms of anxiety?
It's not just the child's anxiety we're watching out for, it's also the parental anxiety that we're watching out for. So in children, things that we might see could be an increase in perseveration about foods, repeatedly asking, is that safe? Are you sure? Did you check? When it's an item that they routinely eat or that's kept safely in the house. Children who are suddenly not wanting to go to birthday parties or not going to activities that they used to enjoy because there might be food present. Children who aren't eating or maybe come home and their lunchbox is still full. All of those can be signs of worry, as well as things like changes in sleep patterns or general eating habits at home can also indicate some anxiety. For parents, we sometimes see a level of vigilance that's a little disproportionate to what the reaction is. So maybe they're not introducing any new foods besides just a few items that they feel comfortable with, or they're not allowing their child to participate in things even though the child wants to. Those can be signs of anxiety as well, and we need to address both child and parent anxiety when it comes to food allergies.
Absolutely. Jennifer, great information this morning. We really do appreciate you taking your time out this morning and telling us all about this, because I said, really good information on a topic that is certainly timely with those kids back in the classroom. Thanks again this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate it. So there you go. As your kids head back to school, many of them are already back in school now. It's just, food allergies are very much a thing that we all need to keep on our radar.